Patriots, rebels, outlaws, and pirates. The brave patriots that took the Capitol building and delayed the certification of a fraudulent election they're still in our minds. Let me ask you, did you cheer them on? Did you wish you had been there to be part of something truly significant and historical? I did, although prior commitments and distance kept me closer to home. Perhaps you don't see yourself doing something so radical or secretly wish you had the courage of those who did. What keeps most of us from doing the type of things that really get the attention of the tyrants ruling over us? Why don't we resist in ways that might actually bring about real change? In a word, fear. Fear of loss. Loss of liberty, being locked up. Loss of property, having it confiscated or losing it, defending yourself from persecution in a corrupt justice system. Ultimately, loss of life, ending up in an unmarked grave, the end for hundreds of millions who displeased tyrants throughout the centuries. You see, there's a trick to tyranny, a balancing act that so few seem to be able to master. While they plunder the people for their own appetites and exert greater control to satisfy their own narcissistic passions, they need to leave the serfs and slaves enough so they think if they just keep their heads down, the little they have left won't be demanded of them. So the smart tyrant, he takes it slow, demanding more and more over time, playing on the people's hopes that each requisition of property, each abuse of rights will be the last. Let the people settle into the new normal before making another demand. As the Declaration of Independence says, men are more disposed to suffer while the evils are sufferable. And throughout history, men have suffered and endured the worst degradation at the hands of their fellow man. The thing is, governments and those who run them will always demand more. Their power will continually expand while our rights diminish. We may keep drawing our lines in the sand, but they will always cross them. Do you even have a line they cannot cross? Because they will cross every one if we fail to do anything more than whine or protest loudly. Because the end game is this: greed and lust for power eventually get the best of them, and they will reduce us all to abject slavery. When that happens, when men have lost everything and have had everything taken, ironically, they're free again. There is no more fear, for there can be no more loss. The only loss left is that of life. And a man whose life is devoid of anything of value doesn't fear losing it as much as others might. A man from whom the tyrant has taken everything is the most dangerous man of all. He is no longer under the tyrant's power. He no longer fears the tyrant's wrath. He will fight with a holy vengeance and will seek justice untempered with mercy. He may burn out in an explosive conflagration, or he may ignite an uncontrollable inferno, but his actions will have an impact, a loud, disruptive, historical impact. So the question is this: are you going to wait until the tyrant has put you in a corner? Until he has taken everything before you act to restore your liberty and your humanity? If we know that our current trajectory towards totalitarianism has not been changed by any of our actions within the system, and that an absolute despotism is in sight, why do we desperately hold on to the things that we know will be stolen, the vestiges of freedom we know will be taken? Why do we refrain from acting out of fear of losing the very things that will be taken if we don't act? If we fail to act, we will surely lose everything of value. If we do act, there is a chance we will restore our liberty and secure our property. So we have a choice before us. We can continue as we have, writing our clever memes, contacting our deaf representatives, casting a now worthless vote, hoping we won't live long enough to see it really get bad, and so condemning succeeding generations to slavery by our cowardice. Or we can do as our forefathers did. Men and women who put the struggle for liberty far and above the value they placed on their lives and their fortunes. They had not yet lost everything, but they saw the writing on the wall and were willing to put it all on the line for the hope of a better future. Americans have always done that. It's part of the American spirit to risk big. Freedom, The defiance of tyranny, it's in our DNA. You can do significant things to restore your liberty. Non-compliance is a start. Stop obeying their unconstitutional dictates. How about this? Stop paying for your chains. That will get their attention, believe me, I know. If you get the chance, protest, make your voice heard. Keep the powder dry, folks, be prepared. Samuel Adams wrote, "If ye love wealth greater than liberty, the tranquility of servitude greater than the animating contest for freedom, go home from us in peace. We don't seek your counsel, nor your arms. Crouch down and lick the hand that feeds you. May your chains set lightly upon you, and may posterity forget that ye were our countrymen." Which are you? An American who courageously engages in the contest for freedom, or one who is in fear of losing what you have, doing your best to ignore the rattle of your chains as you prostrate yourself before your masters? The time for choosing is upon us. Our descent into an absolute tyranny has gained a frightening speed. Who will you be? And how will your grandchildren remember you?